Alright, we're going to be taking a look at Ghost's next move, Secrets, the Will, and Threats theories. This is a prediction for Power Book 2 Season 3. If you enjoy, like, sub, and let me know what you'd like me to discuss next in the comment section. I'm going to try to upload more on this channel. It's been very busy. I'm in Boston right now, but I'm heading back home, I believe, tomorrow. So I'm definitely going to try to upload more on this channel.
So as one threat leaves in the show as Mecca, other threats to Tariq St. Patrick still remain, and being at the center of Power Book 2 Ghost, and especially as St. Patrick, trouble will always follow him, and Tamika was right when she said everybody who gets close to Tariq either ends up dead or in jail.
I thought when James died the killing would stop, but it hasn't. Bodies continue to pile up around you, Tariq.
But the threats to Tariq come in all sorts of different ways, from law enforcement to the Tejadas. Some may also argue Effie still can't be trusted, especially with the move she made with Lauren behind his back, although she did what needed to be done. But other threats come in different ways. For example,
My bad, but when it comes to Effie, my personal opinion, she can't be trusted. Because remember, we seen her meeting Kane by that bridge at the end of Season 2 after they hit the lick and all that, so... yeah, Effie cannot be trusted. And then the Lauren thing on top of that, because she's the one who told Kane about Lauren. So yeah, fuck Effie.
Sometimes he can be his own worst enemy, therefore he can be a threat to himself. Again, an example is how he could have easily have left the game, with Monet keeping her word, but killing Mecca stopped him from getting the 2 million, but he still had the choice to leave the game, and he didn't. Now another is what moves does Ghost have up his sleeve, because if Season 2 proved anything, it proved Ghost was all his 3 moves ahead of Tariq, even from his grave. So what's his next move and what other secrets are in his will that could have been potentially foreshadowed already? And this is where we're gonna start, James St. Patrick's next move. Now, just as a quick recap, Ghost showed he had everything in position before he died, and if we were to rewind it back to Power, Ghost amended his will right after Angela died. He left Paz, Kate, Tommy, and even Grandma Estelle something from his will. Now the only person who was left with nothing was Tasha.
We believe scholarships aren't just for the chosen few, they're for you. Because now every
Now, Tariq was left with his watch collection, his estate, and his money, but he only inherits this once he graduates from college with an average GPA of 3.5. And this is why it's important for Tariq to focus on his studies, because not only is it in his best interest, it's also in the interest of Simon Stern. Now, I've had a lot of questions about what happens to Tariq at Stansfield.
Yo, actually, they're talking about Tariq being at Stansfield, but Zeke ain't alive anymore. I wasn't really thinking, how is that going to play out? Lorenzo killed Zeke last season. So if Zeke's not there, is Tariq going to be kicked out of Stansfield? I'm pretty sure Simon Stern will have some sort of like ulterior objective for Tariq to complete so he can still inherit truth. You let me know in the comment section. Simon Stern cannot be trusted. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not going to say he cannot be trusted, but he'll do whatever it takes to gather truth, no matter what it takes. So, actually, now that I'm really thinking about it, even though Zeke's gone, I don't think Tariq's going anywhere. I think we'll see him at Stansfield next season with a new task. And I'm also curious to see what's going to happen with Councilman Tate, because we know he got rid of Rick Sweeney. So I believe that he gets that congressman seat or whatever it was. So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff to expect for Season 3 of Book 2.
Because Simon Stern definitely said, if Zeke doesn't play, you don't stay. Now, to answer this question, we have to understand, Simon Stern, he's a businessman at the end of the day, and I really wouldn't be surprised if he had a vested interest and something to gain from Zeke going pro. But Zeke is dead, so what happens to Tariq's position at Stansfield? Well, that's the thing, it really isn't Tariq's fault Zeke is dead, so I wouldn't think Tariq's position at Stansfield is in any jeopardy, although it wouldn't surprise me if Simon Stern gave Tariq another task. After all, he does see the same qualities in Tariq he did with his father.
You know, I had to do anything to help my mother.
See? Just like James. He was great at looking ahead, but he could never see from above.
So is it beyond reasonable doubt to think Simon Stern could be back to try and have Tariq play a part in possibly the clubs or another business venture? I definitely think so. So let's wait and see, because he is a very powerful and influential individual, and someone who I described as being one of the most powerful people in power, because there is always one person at the top pulling the strings. But speaking of pulling the strings, let's get back to Ghost's moves, because in season 2, not only did he send a letter to Tariq to tell him he was right where he belongs when he was arrested for the double homicide, he had a plan in place for Yasmin, just in case anybody wiped out the family. And those were the words of his lawyer, just in case anybody wiped out the family, and in this case, Tariq St. Patrick. Although we all know we can point the blame in different directions, Tariq certainly played arguably the biggest part. But where we thought Ghost made his last and final power move in the final episode of the original Power, there was more, and of course there was, because James St. Patrick really was a mysterious person, and who really knew who James St. Patrick was? Because just like Tariq is finding out more about his father, you can argue so are we as the audience. But what will Ghost's next move be from beyond his grave? Because season 2 has taught us one thing: he's always 3 moves ahead of Tariq, whether it be in the form of his education, his family, or his businesses. James St. Patrick is always ahead, and I don't think we've seen the last of Daniel.
There are people actually speculating that Ghost is still alive. Do you think that we're going to see him in a future episode of Book 2? Let me know in the comment section what you think. Because, I mean, after Tariq shot him and he fell off that terrorist thing or whatever that ledge was up there, that was a long fall. I mean, even if the shot didn't kill him, I'm pretty sure the impact from the fall, he would have busted his spine or something. But let me know in the comment section if you think we'll see Ghost again. And even if he would have survived, Blanca Rodriguez was on the way to arrest him. Just doesn't seem very realistic, but we'll have to wait and see.
Daniel, who's looking after Ghost's estate, because who knows what other secrets lie in his will, but it all depends on Tariq's actions. For example, if Tariq was to stay on the straight and narrow path and graduate, I'm sure there could be a letter from Ghost to tell him he always believed in him and this is the right path he's chosen, not the drug dealing game, which either ends up with him either dead or in jail.
Okay, so certain actions and consequences trigger a new letter from Ghost? That'd be kind of intricate to watch.
Could there also be another letter, for example, if he becomes a father? Because Ghost had the issue of having to protect his family for 6 seasons on Power, and although Tariq had to protect Yasmin in season 2, having a child of your own is a complete different ballgame, and this is something which would put a complete different perspective on life for Tariq. Although I can't see this happening in season 3, we really can't rule it out possibly for much later in the timeline, so I do believe there are certain trigger points in Ghost's will, and something which will bring Daniel back to our screens, giving Tariq another letter, or possibly even something to do with Simon Stern, because as I mentioned before, he's got a vested interest in Tariq St. Patrick. So both Daniel and Stern are 2 people to watch for Tariq when it comes to this whole situation around Ghost's estate and will. Now, something which will never be too far from Tariq is the threat of law enforcement, and 2 people in particular, Blanca Rodriguez, and we all know the other was on the wrong side of the law in season 2, Cooper Saxe. Now, these 2 for 6 seasons on Power, Chase Ghost and Tommy, albeit Blanca Rodriguez introduced a bit later, but they were never able to catch them, and they even bent the law to get what they want, which ended up with Blanca Rodriguez on the other side of one of Cooper Saxe's shady moves. But they definitely have something in common for season 2, because Cooper Saxe, he was always battling his inner demons, because for his entire career, he was used to putting the bad guys in jail, but all of a sudden, he was defending them, and this just didn't sit right with him, especially because of how many innocent lives were being lost in the process.
My personal opinion, Cooper Saxe is gonna go. And I mean, it's been a very long time. Like, he should have won in the original Power. Ghost and Tommy should have killed him at least 9-10 times. But still, he's here. Y'all think Cooper Saxe is gonna survive y'all think Cooper Saxe will survive season 3? Let me know in the comment section. I think Cooper Saxe's days are numbered.
There was Jabari, Carrie, and then Lauren, albeit not all are solely Tariq's fault, but he doesn't exactly have a good track record of those who get involved with him. So with Cooper Saxe battling the demons inside him, along with his feelings for Jenny Sullivan, I can see him turning and potentially working with Blanca Rodriguez to either...
I feel like if Davis McQueen does find out that Saxe is feeding Jenny Sullivan information, I feel like, he's going to use that to his advantage, and it'll be some kind of protocol breach in court or something like that. But again, we're gonna have to wait and see. But I think that once they find out what Saxe is doing, he's a dead man. If Tariq doesn't kill him, we know Kane will. Someone is gonna kill Saxe. Saxe, that is 9 seasons. This will be his 9th season being in the Power universe. If you count the original 6 seasons of Power and now 3 seasons of Book 2, I think his time has come.
To either put Tariq or at least one of the Tejadas away. So I'm sure we all know both of them pose a huge threat for Tariq in season 3. And just before we do move on, we do need to touch on.
Yeah, that's something else. Blanca saw Tariq, and that in the penthouse. Well, not necessarily in the penthouse, but in the lobby of the penthouse that Mecca was murdered in. But then I'm not sure, because if they do all kind of forensic evidence, you would think that they would be able to prove the time of death. Tariq was literally still in the lobby or going up the elevator. Or maybe there's no cameras in the elevator. But even again, like I have to wonder, like, did they not see Monet enter the penthouse? A lot of questions there. A lot is going to be going on from the jump of season 3. A lot.
Touch on the subject of the crossover, because foreshowed as Blanca Rodriguez wanting.
Sorry, last interjection, but again, I'm not sure about the crossover. It somewhat makes sense, but I really don't think Tommy wants anything to do with Tariq. Like, after he killed Ghost, like, Tommy was going to shoot Tariq, but Ghost stopped him. So, yeah, I'm not saying a crossover is impossible, but I'm not sure where or why it would be going on, because Tommy does not like Tariq. Tariq is an enemy in Tommy's eyes. In my opinion, the only reason he did not kill him is because Ghost told him not to. But you let me know in the comment section what you think.
Wanting to investigate the case in Chicago, so I really wonder whether Blanca Rodriguez or Cooper Saxe could find out Tommy's alive, and whether Tariq could potentially make the call to Tommy to warn him. But there are so many directions they could take this in, so drop me your predictions on the crossover down below in the comment section. Now, a few of the threats Tariq needs to be wary of run from Kane and the Tejadas, Lauren's brother, and potentially Effie. Now, we all know Kane versus Tariq and how Kane's never liked him for taking his place in season 1. But no doubt he will definitely be treading carefully after learning about what Tariq's done in the past. But regardless, I still don't think it'll stop him from going against him in the future, and Tariq will now know Kane is the threat which he's gonna have to keep an eye on, more so than ever after the shit he pulled with Brayden. Now, Power also have a tendency to drop hints of characters who could turn up in the future, and one could very well be Lauren's brother, and we learned about him in season 1 where he was in rehab. But could he be someone who Tariq's not expecting to try and find out the truth about Lauren's death? It's definitely possible. Now, when it comes to Effie, she's just like Tariq, and even though she's fallen for him and protected him, it goes without saying, Tariq looks out for himself, and so does Effie, and the Lauren thing is definitely going to cause a huge divide. Now, on the last one, sometimes people can really be their own worst enemies. For example, James St. Patrick himself.
No one can stop me now. Because I swear to God, Tasha, nothing is gonna stop me.
Now, he created so many enemies and thought nothing could stop him on the way to Albany, and Tariq can sometimes also be his own worst enemy, because he had the chance to go legit, but he never took the chance Ghost gave him, and now that he's seen a few of the consequences, he wants out of the game. But even when he is presented with an opportunity to leave, he still didn't. So again, the issues he's facing are his own doing, but those are the threats to Tariq, and they come in all sorts of different ways. So drop.
Can you guys imagine Tariq having a 9 to 5? Can you imagine him running the drive-thru at McDonald's? He's definitely bringing these problems on himself, though. I know Mecca was killed before he could get the 2 million, but he definitely, when Monet said you're free to go, he should have walked. Just focused on school. You're going to inherit everything Ghost left behind. But let me know in the comment section what you think about Tariq. What you think overall about Ghost, if we're going to see him again, and when his note will be triggered or when he'll pop up. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Probably get some Star Wars content dropping here later on today as well.